Alright, so today we are going to do wax up for an anterior implant case. The patient underwent a trauma and lost her central and lateral incisor. Luckily, the central incisor exactly chipped halfway through and which we could bond exactly, but the lateral was shattered into pieces. So we're going to design or mirror contralateral lateral incisor onto this, create a wax up, and then 3D print it, and then use that as an index to create a temporary tooth over the or temporary cap over the implant. So you open Exocad, you punch in the patient's name. After that, you select the tooth. After selecting the tooth, you're supposed to select what kind of work is to be done. So Exocad does not allow you to alter this once this is selected. So if at all you have to change it later on, you have to start over. So since it's a wax up and not a crown, we're going to select anatomic pontic. We're going to 3D print it. So let's select 3D print. We want to mirror the opposing tooth or the contralateral tooth. So we'll check yes and press OK. Once this is done, hit save and then hit design. So once you do that, it goes into the actual working section where or the actual CAD section where you would be designing the case. Alright, so once the next window pops up, you can check it's asking for the upper scan. It's in the pen drive and the new folder. Let's double click the upper scan. It's asking for the antagonist lower scan. Double click on that. Let it do its processing. The first step that we do is we tell the software which is the working side and which is the non-working side. This helps orient the software so that it knows which is the working side. Now it's asking us to select the tooth that you want to mirror. So we want to mirror the 2-2 or the contralateral lateral incisor. So it's pretty intelligent and accurate that it not only segments that part of the tooth but also flips it so that it looks like the other side tooth. All right, so once this is done, you do a tentative adjustment on its position. You can hit control and that helps you rotate and tilt the tooth. Let's toggle the visibility of the lower on so that since it's going to be an implant crown, it has to be completely out of occlusion. So you adjust the wax up in 3 dimensions. This looks good. Yes. Let's check whether the plane is okay. Yeah, the plane also looks okay. So if at all we wish to make it slightly wider, then we could, but let's not change it right now. Okay. This looks doable. Let's hit next. So unless we want to make some changes over here, we make those changes. Otherwise, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to, so let's toggle the antagonist off and let's see what we can do. So let's add some material over here. Let's add some material. We want a design to actually go and touch the wax up or touch the original scan. Okay, we can go to smoothen or flatten and then just gently smoothen this out to our desire. So this would be one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be to place the implant, place the abutment in its position, and then scan and directly get a temporary made. This would allow us to give a temporary immediately to the patient and then reline the internal part of it to completely condition the soft tissue. Okay, so this looks okay. If you notice, the mesiodistal width for this lateral incisor is as it is quite large. So instead of we closing it, we'll try and replicate this lateral incisor in totality of its dimensions and take it from there. Okay, so let's hit next. Even if we don't hit next here, we can ignore everything and we can right click, save the base file as the jaw scan. Use default coordinate, right click on the wax up, save as the full anatomic pontic, save default coordinate system. We can hit here, we can save scene and exit from here. Alright, so once we're done with that, the next step is to open Mesh Mixer and import both the files that we just saved into this folder. So let's drag drop both of them simultaneously, and if you notice over here, the files almost completely aligns itself. All right, let's alter this and let's fill this up slightly. See, honestly speaking, you need a template to create the perfect facial. Once you have a perfect facial, the rest of it can be relined with a flowable when you're making a screw retained prosthesis. Okay, let's go to brushes. Let's go to bubble smooth and let's smoothen this out completely. Can you see that the socket is very nicely merging now, which would help us print it better. Alright, so once we are done with this, what we have to do is we have to combine both the files. Right now there are two separate files. If you notice over here, I can toggle between the visibility and there are two separate files, and what we need to do is hit on one, then click the other so that both of them are selected and click on combine. So once you're done with that, if you notice now it's just a single file. Alright, and now using this file, we would hit Ctrl E, which would export this in the same folder where we had our previous files. We would drag drop this or we would save this. Once it's done saving, we'll go back to that folder, check our new wax up. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. That's workable. All right, so now we would put this for 3D printing. Once we are done 3D printing this, then the next step is going to be creating a putty index, and also we would try and use the same file for our implant planning so that we can have our abutment coming exactly from the cingulum area and it's completely prosthetically driven, and then that would facilitate us to create a really nice screw retained prosthesis which we would reline to perfection to create the best possible soft tissue profile.